Hello, I'm Leann Chivers from Spectrum Noir, Crafter's Companion, and we're going to have a look at how to palette blend in this little video clip. And it is certainly one of the techniques that you will want to learn and you will want to master, because it really does then open up a huge array of possibilities for you. What I've got here is the excerpt from the accreditation test, and this is the little dragonfly that we want you to practice the palette blending with. And what you can see here is that I've got beautiful shaded wings with the green and the purple and pink. And if we hadn't used the get your teeth in, Leanne. If we hadn't used the palette blending technique, then we wouldn't have been able to achieve that. And the reason for that is we're using 3 pens from 3 entirely different colour families. So I'll just explain that to you a little bit more. What I've got here are 3 pens, and we'll be able to see that I've got CT1, which is citrus 1, CG2, which is citrus green 2, and then I've got a DG3, dark green 3. So they're 3 pens from completely different colour families. And if I just scribble on my little bit of scrap here, what you'll be able to see is that they are very, very different in colour. So trying to get these to blend together without the palette blending technique would be impossible. And just to prove that to you, if I just do a little bit here, so let's say I've coloured something with my DG3 and I'm going to try and blend that down into CG2, what happens is it either overtakes or bleaches it away. So I don't have a blend, I just have a solid line. Because there's more alcohol in the CG2, it basically just pushes all that DG3 away and overtakes it, pushes it through the card, which you'll be able to see below here, and doesn't do any blending at all apart from a horrible mottled mess. So the palette blending technique will allow you to blend 3 colours together like that when they're not from the same family to create some really kind of beautiful and cool effects. Alright, so that's what we're aiming for. So what you need are your 3 pens. You need an acrylic block, a glass mat, or as I've got here, just a piece of acetate. You could use some packaging from something if you want to. And you need your little dragonfly as well. Okay, and then what you're going to do is scribble onto your acetate the darkest colour that you're using, which in this case is our DG3. So we're popping some of that onto my acetate, and I'm just doing it on top of my white card there so you can see it. And then we'll need some of the middle colour as well. And that in this case is the CG2. And I'm going to scribble some of that onto my acetate. So this now becomes a kind of little paint palette, for want of a better word. All right, and then I've got my CT1, which I'll do the blending with in a sec. So the first thing we're going to do to start is just start where we want it to be the most shaded, or the darker, the deeper the colour. We're going to put a little bit of the darkest colour. So I'm going to start with my DG3, and I'm putting a little bit of my DG3 here. Remember, no straight linear lines at the base. So that's where it's going to start, the darkest green. And remember about your even saturation of colour in the card. So that's my DG3, and then the next colour is the CG2. Now we know that this won't blend together because we had a look at that earlier. So what I'm now going to do, and this is going to appear very scary if you've never done this before, trust me, it's fine. You're going to take your CG2 and you're going to scoop up some of the darker DG3 from your acetate palette. So I'm just scooping up, and you can see I'm scooping in one direction. So I'm scooping up that DG3 there, and then I'm going straight to my butterfly, and I'm colouring from the first layer of DG3 that I put down out with the CG2. And what that does is mix a middle tone on the end of my pen, which then moves out as I move all the DG3 off the nib into that beautiful CG2. So it kind of mixes a mid-tone and allows you to achieve that blend where you wouldn't have been able to achieve it without. Always check before you put your lid back on your pen with just a little scribble and a little turn around to make sure that you've got all of that DG3 off there, because if you don't, it's going to soak in and contaminate the nib. So all you need to do is make sure you've got it off by doing a little scribble. And then that's that layer. And then the lightest colour we were using is the CT1. And we're going to do exactly the same again, but this time I'm scooping up the mid-tone. So I'm scooping up, not skipping up, my CG2. So again, I'm just scooping up, and you'll be able to see it on the end there of my nib, scooping up the CG2, and I'm going to do exactly the same again. So I'm pulling it out into the lighter tone. I actually don't need as much of this because I haven't got as much space. So I'm just going to scoop that out there. It'll blend that into the CT1. And I've mixed my new colour. Now I'm checking my nib to see if I've got any left, and I can see that I have. So I'm just going to give that a little scribble. And there my nib's entirely cleaned now, so it hasn't ruined or contaminated my pen at all. But what it has done is allow me to achieve that beautiful blend between those three colours. And just very quickly, what I'd like to do is show you how that works with another colour set, just so you can see. And this one's really scary. I've got PL5, BP7 and PP3. So I'm just going to scribble on my PL5, which is purple 5, and my BP bright pink 7 onto my little palette. You can see these are three entirely different colour families, and then I've got my PP pale pink 3 for later. What I'm going to do is quickly add in some of the dark purple at the base, exactly as we did before, thinking about your even colour saturation. And then we're going to use the BP7 to scoop up that PL5. And we're going to mix that mid-tone. So we're scooping up the different colour, and that's mixing a mid-tone and creating a blend on our nib from the PL5 into the BP7. And it's done that beautifully. And again, just clean your nib with a little scribble. And then finally, we're going to take PP3, and this time we're scooping up BP7. So we're scooping that up, and then we're going to blend that out. So you can see it's very quick that I'm doing a scoop and then an immediate colour. You don't want to sit around with that dark ink on the tip of your lighter pen for a long time. Get rid of it, because you don't know, when I say a long time, I mean 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes overnight, because you don't want it to contaminate your pen. You're just mixing your own palette on the end of your nib there. And then a little clean. And there we go. How absolutely incredibly beautiful is that effect, using 3 pens that law says won't blend together, but with a little bit of acetate and a little bit of know-how, create beautiful effects. Have fun playing. I can't wait to see the colour combinations you come up with on your accreditation tests. I'm sure it's going to be stunning, and you're going to achieve really, really beautiful little works of art with that very quick, very simple technique.